What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a post day, and it feels like I've never said it this season, but we won. Like we actually won a game at home to begin with, as well, but also just in an Italian competition. Let's call it that. It's not the Serie A, but it's getting closer. We're getting closer to a win in Serie A. We're gonna talk about because a lot to talk about based on that result and on decisions made on that game. But first off, Norbert, how are you? How are you doing?
Hey, yeah, it was first win since Torino. When was it? November, a month ago, I think.
It feels longer.
So yeah, so a lot to be happy about, but also we need to be careful because it was Cagliari. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. Um, it was Cagliari, but it was also Venezia, and it was Cagliari at home a couple
Yeah,
of weeks ago. So you always need to be careful when you talk about results. But there are a lot of things we need to talk about. On that lineup because neither of us, like not you, not me, expected changes. Not just
yeah,
personnel changes, like changes in ideas basically, or like trying to change certain ideas. So we're gonna talk about that, the result, anything, everything. Excuse me, a little bit of Monza as well, and some transfers news as well. But first off, let's start with the things that were forced or like when it's not going to be part of the tactical plan in my opinion, which was also a lot of people commenting on the video, so that's why I'm going to talk about it. And hi everybody, like the video. For example, after the game it was like, yeah, but we're not always going to play Locatelli. Let's talk about Locatelli first. That was not really a tactical choice in my opinion. That was more of a, I need to give Kalulu a rest, I guess. I need to give. Excuse me. I need to give. Yeah, I need to give him a rest. Excuse me, and maybe I can see if Locatelli can hold up here and there. When I watched that, and he did well, by the way. But like you said, it's Cagliari.
yeah,
Still, I think it's more of let me give it a go now. Do I need to use it in the future for some sort of reason? I know I can use Locatelli because against Monza, Locatelli is not going to play there. Against Fiorentina, he's not going to play there. And in the summer, in January, you bring in your defender, and Locatelli is not going to play there. But let's talk about Locatelli first. What do you made of that decision? Like, what is your theory behind that?
so there were some mistakes, especially in the beginning. At the very first minute, we almost got a goal,
Yeah,
and I would say it has something to do with the a pair of CBs that never played together as a pair of CBs. So there were some mistakes, but other than that, I liked Locatelli more as a CB than as a midfielder yesterday. Um, so yeah, he was solid. And I think he will play there every now and then. But as you mentioned, I believe that's true. What you said that he was only resting Gatti. That was the main goal. And he also wanted to see how is the team when there's an actual CB who is really good with the ball. And all the rumors saying that we're gonna get a ball playing central back, and we can see how much better we can be when there's an actual ball playing center back. So yeah, I was really happy with Locatelli overall.
yeah, and I kept saying Kalulu. It's Gatti. I'm not sure
Yeah,
why, but it could be Gatti for that matter. But I agree. It's different playing out from the back. I saw a lot more for like a lot of potential chances in that first half. Started with Locatelli, where he just played it immediately, vertically, not really a lot of sideways things, passes, and maybe that was a type of experiment, excuse me, to see how we will hold up, how things potentially could look, because at the end of the day, um, the Tonali news, like transfer news at the end of the show, people, but like you said, I think it's just because defensively Locatelli is not a defender, like. Um, that's basically that. I think it was more of an experiment of how will it look if we have something to play out from the back in a different way, because I don't think Kalulu is poor playing out from the back, but it's not like the range, the passing range. It's completely
Yeah,
different. The options are very limited. Um, with our traditional, backline basically. So I thought that was kind of an experiment in itself, but not really, to suggest, okay, now we're gonna play Locatelli CB against Monza. It will be Gatti and Kolulu against Monza, and it should be both of them because, like you said, it's Cagliari at home. The rest of the few players as well, and yeah, Monza's quote unquote poor, but you expect just defenders to start. Even if you have fit defenders, you expect them to start
yeah,
next Sunday. I think everybody's assuming that as well. Um, that was like from the lineup. I think that's the only one I was like, that's just kind of a one-off. All the rest were interesting. Let's move on to McKennie's position because we've seen play McKennie as a wing back under Allegri as well. I thought his position. Would you agree? First off, I don't know if you were on a show where we talked about it and we were like, he probably will play that position pretty well, and he did that pretty well. I guess
yeah,
with McKennie is I like McKennie if he can have like a free role entering the box, so on. I like him, or if he plays those type of positions. If he's in midfield, I'm not a big fan of this. I never will because on the ball it's very
yeah,
limited. But yesterday evening, to be honest, I thought he was very good, especially in the first half. Like a lot of
yeah,
overlaps. We will talk about the potential, like the problems, quote unquote, it cost coal miners and so on in the first, I don't know, like 25, 30 minutes. But all in all, I thought he had a good game and he could be potentially a solution for now until the end of the season in those positions.
yeah, yeah. It was pretty solid, and like it's awesome now because we have a left back and the right back, and he can play a midfielder as well if needed. And he finished the game as a winger up top, so he can be everywhere, and he's an awesome squad player. Like hopefully his shoulder is okay, but other than that, he's relatively fit. And he can be a nice piece for the right price because there are rumors about renewing him. So I think he can be a nice squad player, and yeah, awesome. He can play left back. That's crazy. That's really good.
Like with McKennie is like in summer I was like sell him because of the
Yeah,
situation of the contract. I was like, it's not worth it. Like overpaying is still not worth it in my opinion. But if you use him in certain areas or like use him in certain ways, I can live with him. Like you said, like as a good squad player, I have no issues with that. I have an issue when you ask him to do things he's just not really good at, or
yeah,
then I'll have an issue. And it's not really an issue. Yeah, it's an issue with him, but he has his limits. Like he has his limits. It's up to I think Motta to just figure out what limitations you want to see. Because in
yeah,
midfield against Venezia, it was poor. Like, it was really poor. Even against Venezia, you saw it was extremely limited. When he plays that position yesterday, he quote unquote shines. I don't know how to explain. Like it, I think everybody can appreciate him more in yesterday's position than in
yeah,
midfield, in my opinion. And that's good. I'm all good for that. Also because for Cambiaso, it's just Cambiaso out there, and that's it. Like that's it
yes,
right now. And if you have that option to play McKennie from now until the end of the season, you don't need to really worry about that in January. Just focus on the real main issues, and then you will figure it out. And I'm not saying play McKennie. If Cambiaso's fit, he's gonna play 80% of the remaining games basically. Before that, 20% of the games you can play McKennie. Like it's good to know that what he will do a job. And actually, I never doubted he would do a job. If it was Cagliari or if it was Man City at home and he played a left back, excuse me, I was still convinced he would have done a perfectly fine job. Because I think he has become disciplined. Like he has become disciplined in
yes, yeah,
like focus. Remember early on when he joined us, it felt like he couldn't stay focused and he just wandered about at times, and it was like not really Like it wasn't about football. Right now, he remains focused. And somebody said he has great stamina. The fitness level
Yeah,
is impressive right now with him. It really is, considering where he came from. Remember Leeds, and with us, it was extremely poor. And now he's playing well. So left back, yeah, that's a good solution. Like that's one thing less I think to worry about in January, because if you lost Cabal, you lost players at the back. It's good to know that you have an option already in the squad, basically.
yeah. He has an awesome work rate. He runs all game. I think yesterday he played the whole game as well. So um, he can play in a three-man midfield when two others can do all the technical part and all the ball carrying and passing, and he can just arrive to the box, but not in a pivot. It would never work with him too well. But yeah, um, hats off playing left back first time in your career. Probably it was really solid. So it's awesome.
Yeah, it came with a problem, I thought, in the first half a little bit. I thought Koopmeiners was under a lot of pressure because he needed to slot in. And I think he was looking like everybody was kind of finding their foot. That's why potentially was a perfect game to give it a go, because you can see, I thought in the first half and early on in the second half, I thought Cagliari between the lines had so much time and space to receive the ball. But then again, it was Cagliari, so it didn't really cost us too much. But there was a
Yeah,
lot of space that we couldn't cover with our midfielders and with the center backs. I thought the closing of the space was not good at times. It improved after the 2-0. It became more aggressive, but I don't think that's a worry. I think that's just like, okay, we've seen the potential issues with that. Now you need to address that. Like, it's good that I've
yeah,
seen it, babies. I think everybody saw it. Like, Lapadula had too much time and space from time to time, just between the lines. Like, you could pick it up and he can run. Like, we were not close enough. And that comes, I think, with positioning, basically, like finding, you're feeding him, because we made changes yesterday. If people like it or do not like it, we made changes. The big one was obviously Yildiz, who, by the way, let's talk about that, because I thought like that's the main thing that changed yesterday. The decision was made, like we talked about on the show for I don't know how many weeks now, 3-4 weeks, like
yeah. We
drop Colt
pressed for
Miners,
it hard.
move
Yeah,
Yildiz. But when we talked about it, I was like, okay, he's gonna do that, but Colt Miner's gonna go to the left. Yildiz is gonna pick up. Yesterday it was like, no, Yildiz, you kind of stick to that position. Um, how many times Yildiz picked up the ball, and I don't know if it's players being more comfortable in giving him the ball, or he just finding the right pockets and opportunities to receive the ball. How many times he received the ball on the edge of the box compared to a Colt Miners who played that position the last couple of weeks was kind of staggering to me, And to make it good or bad, a positive, negative, technically he had a poor game yesterday, Yildiz, like a
yeah.
really poor
I
game.
agree.
He's not
Yeah,
going to have that the next game. Like I'm assuming, like Motta said, like with his ability, it's probably not going to happen again. But the amount of times he picked up the space and it made defenders commit, because you're not going to let him, do his thing in and around the box, because it's going to cost you, like it did cost him at the end of the first half. It opens up so much for Conceição, for Mbangula yesterday, and as well for Vlahovic, who actually, I think for once this season, actually felt support. There was somebody really, really close to him. It wasn't the case the last couple of weeks. Even if Koopmeiners picked up those positions, you never felt that he's close to Vlahovic, because he couldn't control the ball. He couldn't be involved that much. He wasn't a threat, kept it simple, and it isolated, and it kind of took away so many options.
yeah. And it was also so rare that Coop Miners actually got the ball where at the 10 position. So and Yildiz was he just knows how to play his position. And I'm sorry, no matter even if Mota says Coop Miners is born to be a 10, no, he doesn't know how to play it. Just compare it with Nico Gonzalez or Yildiz. Like it was amazing. He opened up lots of space. He was close to Vlahovic. Yeah, he was. that's where he needs to play. And I would say Nico Gonzalez would be the second 10, like, the sub for Yildiz, or, or he can start on the left or the right. But yeah, Yildiz there is the way to go for sure.
Somebody say, why can't Yildiz find those pockets on the wing? Because I thought like the last couple of weeks it's predictable. Like you get just double team, triple
Yeah,
at times. It's predictable because that's everybody knew it's Yildiz glued on that wing. There's not a lot of pockets to pick up when there's also no movement. Again, PSV, how many times did he had the space because Koopman just overlapped? In the like, remember that 30 minutes from minute 50
yeah,
to the end of the first half? It was constant. It was overlaps, and he was cutting in. That was not the case. It was very stale the last couple of weeks, and you can be, I don't know, any type of player. If that's how you're gonna play, you just get double teamed, and then it's up to you to beat these guys consistently, which is not easy. And that's it, basically. That's it. There's a lot like where he plays now. He has a lot of freedom. You can go left, you can go right, you can go down the middle. It makes it difficult for defenders to pick him up. When he's glued on that wing, everybody knows what's gonna happen. Like there's no element of surprise there. He's gonna pick up the ball on the touchline. That's what's gonna happen. Right now, you
yeah,
don't know where he's gonna pick up the ball. Is it on the right hand side? Is that on the left? Is it in the box, at the edge of the box? Like it's unpredictable. And I thought I thought that was the issue. In my opinion. The movement part, because again, I don't think there was a lot of movement yet, but like going back to the Locatelli talk, for the first time, not for the first time this season, but for the first time in a very long time, I saw consistent just triangles, very easy things, just give and goes, whatever. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't Atalanta type of things.
yeah,
However, that makes it like last week, and I'm not gonna do it, by the way. There was like Venezia. It was sideways. Like the entire 90 minutes, it was sideways. Yesterday, that was not really the case. It wasn't the case. It was picking up pockets. It was a quick flick here and there. It was a little triangle here and there, which opens up. Like you need to have other teams commit bodies basically, and if they sit back, fine. But then even still, just the suffocating pressure should be doing the trick. But when you have Cagliari, who wasn't really sitting deep, in my opinion, they were trying to put some pressure, and that has been the case because Venezia did the same thing, but we had no clue what to do in possession. Yesterday, I saw some triangles. Now, was it perfect? Was it breathtaking? Absolutely not. Basic, no. It wasn't as consistent as it should be, but I mean, you cannot go now from that to okay, let's do it again. Yildiz on the left, Conceição on the right. If you do that again, it's not gonna work. Post game, I said now is the time to take some risk. Like you have really nothing to lose right now.
yeah,
Like the only thing you have to lose is 2 points every single week. That's the path we're on right now. Like that's it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
is he gonna do that? I don't know, but the movements were slightly better, and that was just purely because of players being in different positions.
Yeah. Personally, I don't think he will go back to the previous version of Kopanes being up top, because it wasn't resting reasons, because Thuram and Locatelli they played. So yeah, I think this something similar is going to be our starting lineup, except true defender is gonna play in the defense. But yeah, we were waiting for this moment, and it might come that we actually play good and play with Cope Miners being in a pivot. So and I agree that. Sorry.
No, finish, because I want some.
No,
Because you said
I
pivot.
agree that. Yeah, Thuram slowed us down a few times, but he was still solid. He brought the solidity to the midfield, so can't
That
blame him too much.
that's like I want to talk about Thuram because my thing, I like Thuram,
Yeah,
but when there's a lot of space and time on the ball, he needs to learn a lot.
yeah,
He slows down play, and what slows down play is he's not really sure what to do with it, but he doesn't lose the ball, but like he's not really sure what to do with. he's at best, which is weird to say, when he's getting pressed, he's the best. Like he's at his best. When people are pressing him, and you can use his body and you can flick it,
He
you know,
steps
and
up.
yeah,
Yeah,
he can step up with possession, take a few steps, and he's gone. Like we've seen it all season long.
yeah.
He's at his best. When he has a lot of time, it feels like he's like, okay, what now? What do I need to do with the ball? Now, he's going to need to learn that, but it's also need to come from coaching. Because if you just let him do, he's just going to keep it simple and, you know, playing at the back, playing a 1 meter pass here and there. Not much is going to change. So that's going to need to come from Motta. But that's my thing on him. I think he's at his best when he's getting pressed and he's getting contest and he needs to get in there. I think he's at his best. When you give him a lot of time, like he's not rubbish, but it feels like he doesn't even know. Like he has the ball and he's like, what
He's playing
now?
safe.
He keeps it
He's not
too
even
safe.
trying those wing passes. He's
No, it's
just,
too safe. Like
yeah,
there's
yeah.
safe, and then there's what he was trying to do yesterday. And is that a knock? I mean, yeah, it's a knock, but it's not to say that he was bad. Like that's not it.
Yeah.
He's just gonna need to figure it out that if we are willing to become the team we are, he's gonna have these type of situations more than one time a season. So he's gonna need to find a way and figure it out to open up his game, because I don't think he's bad in possession. Maybe at the start of the season it was a bit oof, you know. He's not bad. Like he's not like, remember at the start of the season, remember that the first couple of games where the ball felt like it was a hot potato for him and it was just
Yeah.
bouncing every single. I think people think that's him for always, but I've not watched a lot of Nice when he played in Nice, but a couple of games I thought technically he was excellent. You know, he's cool. He's commanding on the ball, um, but yesterday I thought was styling. That's why you said pivot for Monza, because we always thought, oh, it's Locatelli, Colt Miners, and Thuram. But if there is a formation change, do you think he's gonna, because Colt Miners is not getting benched? I think he made that very clear, Motta, right now. Is he gonna play? Is he gonna bench Thuram? Is it then gonna be Locatelli and um, Colt Miners, with Locatelli being the guy who kind of sits, you know, and uh, makes the play, and Colt Miners the
Yeah.
one being allowed to, you know, move up a little bit? Or is he, like he said early on, not gonna do the formation change because he doesn't want to drop Thuram as well?
I think Locatelli has to play, and I think we need to play with the defenders for now. But maybe because it's Monza, maybe he will play Locatelli as a defender. But I think Thuram will be the sub for now, and
If he sticks with
Locatelli,
his
Cope
formation.
Miners. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Locatelli,
mean,
Cope Miners.
you still have Douglas Luiz somewhere else as well.
Yeah,
That's why I saw
yeah.
suggesting playing him as a 10.
It's yeah, yeah. I just can't see how Cope Miners is not playing, and Cope Miners Douglas Lewis would never work. Cope Miners Thuram might work. I think that has a good chance to work, but yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen.
I mean, it feels like we have many options, but nothing is really working. That's why when you open up the newspapers and it's like, he's gonna play Nico as a 10 or Douglas Luiz as a 10 or McKennie. It's a lot of options, but I don't think, something needs to click, obviously, but I think it's not that complicated where it's like, I think there's only gonna be one option where it's like, this works. And maybe a player can slot here and there, but something needs to work. Right now, this might work. Like, we don't know, because he's probably not going to play in Bangula. Maybe against Monza, but like, let's say the January stretch. Out of the top of my head, I forgot about the Supercoppa. I think it's Atalanta, it's Milan.
Play Nico.
Like, he's not going to play in Bangula. He's not gonna do that. Who, by the way, I want to talk about. Let's talk about him first, and then we move on to Nico Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Because he still gets slated in Bangula because he's not flashy. But remember, I think it was September or August, I don't know. I did a show and I was like, and I was wrong to this moment, I'm not going to lie. But I stick with the thought process where it's like, he's going to play a lot of games, which he didn't, However, I'm a bit shocked because he doesn't lose possession. He doesn't
Yeah,
lose. He retains the ball. He's very smart with the ball. He's not wasteful with the ball. And again, people have an issue with that. He's not really flashy, but he's smart. He's intelligent with the ball. He just doesn't give it away. He always makes the right decision. I agree. He needs to, you know, have that fire in his belly where it's like, okay, I'm just gonna do it on my own for once. Take some more risks here and there because I think he has that in him, but he keeps it safe. And I know people do not like that. They want to see the flashy things. But yesterday, actually, I thought it was important for us, even though we didn't really create it tons or whatever. But the way he retained possession, slowed it down, accelerate when needed to accelerate. That's why I was at the start of the season. I was like, he's smart with the ball. That's why he's gonna play a lot. I was wrong, but I also think Motta was wrong for not playing him even more since, I don't know, let's say since the Verona game, kind of got away. And I'm not sure why it got away because I think he deserved more playing time. Now, if we do that formation change, he's going to get more playing time. I think because of Yildiz and the formation we played, you're always going to pick Yildiz. But if we change that right now, he's going to play because you're, like you said, you're just not going to play Nico Gonzalez every single week. And he's already fit. So he's going to play more games either way. And I think he should
yeah,
because I think he's a very smart player.
yeah. Most of the time he stepped on that field, he played a solid game. He scores goals. He has the cojones. He has the balls, to shoot. He plays smart. So yeah, I think Bangula. I wouldn't be surprised if he would be the starter. But I can also see a world where Nico Gonzalez starts there. Um, so we will see. But yeah, that left side. Wow, it's crazy. But we actually have choices, and I really love that. Let's hope we're not gonna have more injuries. But yeah,
So, a,
well, he's out.
a couple of moments ago, somebody put in the chat, if we don't win against Monza, it doesn't mean I agree with all those things. We need to beat Monza because of the points we have dropped. If we only, let's say we drew 2 games and we lost one, but we won the others, and you drop points against Monza, it's like, oh, what? Like, you're pissed, but but we like
Yeah,
10 in the league, 10, like that's insane. Like that's just insane. You need to beat Monza. However, if you have a formation change again, and people do not want to hear that, and I get why, it's gonna need time. Like, and it's too late. I get it, but they're gonna be imperfections again. Remember at the start of July, I was like, it's too late. The key players are brought in way too late. It's an issue. It really is an issue, but because I said there's not enough time. We have the Club World Cup. We play more Champions League games. We're assuming we make it out of the group of the Champions League. There's not going to be a lot of time. The Super Cup, for some reason, is 2 games, even if you don't make the final. It's a lot of games. And I was like, man, that's worrying. And right now, he started off. It's not really working. He's probably going to need to make a change. And it's going to not work at one moment in time where it's like, okay, you need to learn this and this need to improve. So we're going to drop more points. Like it or don't like it. I don't like it. Nobody likes it. And we don't need it. But I think it's going to happen by default just purely because of you're going to change things again. And players are going to need to adapt again. To top it off, in January, you bring in new players and they are going to need to adapt to it as well. It's just, it's like, I'm willing to give it time. But at the end of the day, you need to pick up the points. Like, you just need to figure a way to pick up the points. And then at the end of the season, it's like, okay, I've seen something. Now this season, it needs to be confirmed, and you need to build on that. But that was my issue all summer long, basically, that we didn't
yeah.
have the time with the players.
But it's also not really a formation change. It's like a shuffling of
Shuffling, yeah.
players around. Um, and it depends on how the training works, because I don't know how much how do they train. Like, maybe it's easier than we think, and it's going to click faster and all work out. But we need to beat these small teams. Like, it doesn't matter what formation or what player is playing. So I mean, we just need to win. Like if we don't play another draw this season, which obviously it's not realistic, that 10 draw is already a lot, So
Oh yeah, we're gonna draw at least 6, 7 more games this season.
yeah, yeah,
It's gonna happen. Because you probably draw a couple of those top big games. You're gonna draw,
yeah,
and like it's too much. Like at one point, you need to start in your mind. You need to set it at 0, basically, because if you draw, let's say 6 games from now until the end of the season, that's not a lot. But at the end of the day, it's 16, and it's like wow. Even though last season I think we have 14 when we won the league unbeaten the first season, I thought we had like 15 as well or something, or even more. Different, I get it, but I think you need to set it on 0 in your mind right now to see okay,
yeah,
what is the improvement. It's not fair, but you need to do that to see have we improved and against who are we draw. If you draw against Inter or Napoli this season or even Atalanta, it's like that's not really the issue. The issue is Venezia, Cagliari, Empoli, the Parma.
yeah,
Like those are the issues basically, and it's gonna happen. You're gonna go away to I don't know a Genoa and or like at home at Genoa, not Genoa, but just pick the team. Come away, you're gonna draw. Like it always happens throughout the season, but it did happen way too much for us. I think that's kind of where people are standing. When we talk about transfers, I know people are joking about Nico Gonzalez being a January transfer, but while he didn't play until now, when that's why that game yesterday, or like the few games he played yesterday, or yesterday this season, excuse me, is why I will stick by my forget about the price tag when you judge a player type of comment. I will stick with that forever because it's not fair. Like it's just not fair. I judge a player on the expectation I have on him and what he performs. When I say Coop Miners is not playing well, he's not playing well not because he costs I don't know 60 plus, because he's not playing well. If we pay 1 million for him and he plays every week and he's not playing well, I'm still gonna say he's not playing well. I'm not gonna hold the price tag against him because that's the clubs. Same for Nico Gonzalez. We overpaid, yes, but I like him as a player because when we signed him, I was like, okay, it's a GA player. Like Kostic, only technically much better. It's a GA player. He gets
yeah,
GA. He's injury prone. That was my issue at the start. Injury prone. He picks up too many injuries. I think he missed like an average of 10 games basically every season. He missed that already, so we better say he's clean right now. But he's a GA player because technically he's gifted. Like he technically he's Argentine. Period. That's
yeah,
basically like that's what it is. He's smart with his movement. He's clean. He's not the fastest. He's not the. Actually, yesterday he showed
yesterday, yeah,
pace, but usually he's not a fast type of player. He's not Conceição. I think that's why the issues lie with a lot of people. However, he gets the job done. When we signed him, it was like, if you want to be top in Serie A, I think the top process of Motta and Giuntoli was like, we need to have proven players in Serie A. He's one of them, and I think he will deliver. I think, like, from now until the end of the season, if he stays fit, I think he will end up with 15 GA. I think he will end up with that. In all competitions, he will find a way to get 15 goal contributions between goals and assists easily, and that will be great, even though we missed, like, I don't know, 10 games or something, maybe even more. But yeah, I mean that goal, fantastic. Just composure is it's ridiculous.
yeah. In Fiorentina, not even for one moment he was this fast, or I don't know what
No,
happened to him. But yesterday he felt so fast. I don't know, maybe because he only played like 25 minutes or something. But yeah, um, he's a great asset, and he needs to be fit and he needs to play. And I want to go back to Cope Miners for just 1 second. Did you see his, like? I think this was one of his best games so far.
yeah, I agree.
He 100% passing accuracy. That's also great. Like two key passes or something. So Cope Miners was really good yesterday.
He was sick
And
again, which is weird.
yeah, and with the flu, he played with the flu. So
Again, didn't he have the flu, or like wasn't he sick like 2 weeks ago as well? Was it Milan away or like
yes, I
Milan
think
away,
he
right?
was. Yeah,
So strange. But I mean, motivated very clear. It's like I'll talk to my players if they're like I can, I'm not gonna play them. But if they can, I, I thought that was a lie. I think he will play Colt minus even if he has one leg. I mean,
He
like
loves him.
every single presser post game, it's like he's not saying it by himself. By the way, people are like, "Oh, why are you doing this?" He's getting asked by about Colt minus every single week, and every single week he says the same thing. If he plays, we play better. I like him. I cannot sub him off. He did obviously yesterday, but I need him. So on, blah blah blah. Everybody read what he said about him, and he loves him. Like he actually loves him. like that's like Allegri and Rabiot, but kinda.
Yesterday was a little glimpse of what he can do. And the other part that he needs to put together is how he needs to arrive to the box, how he arrives most of the time, and how he can score like 10 goals a season. But I think it will come, and I feel like this was the best game in this formation. So if truly Motta loves him, then he will play him there from now on as in the pivot, and let's see how it goes. But yeah, Cope Miners needs to. He's one of the best midfielders in the league for a few years now running. So like he needs to be better, and he showed yesterday. And let's go.
Yeah, let's see. It was Cagliari, but
Yeah,
still, like that was probably attacking wise one of our best games, and it was flawed by a lot of technical mistakes. And with a lot, I mean, Yildiz's first half, I thought it was kind of telling, and it was still. I think everybody felt like attacking wise one of our better games, and
yeah.
we kept going. It was 2-0. We didn't sit back. We just kept going, which is a must for us, especially when you play at home. You must. Like, it's just an obligation. But let's move on before we wrap this one up. Transfers. It's getting closer and closer. It's getting weirder and strange. I talked about Tonali. Actually, I recorded, so we'll drop tomorrow. So I'm not going to really talk much about Tonali, but you can talk about him. Forget about the part where we were going to offer up Yildiz for 40 million. Just forget about that. Like, don't even mention that. But the idea of the club being potentially interested in Tonali, is that breaking news? Or, like, is that shocking news, I guess?
No, not at all. It feels like you once Italian players, still, and Tonali is. I'm not sure if his whole Premier League experience worked out for him. Obviously, the betting issues he had, like Fagioli, so we like gamblers, that's for sure. But yeah, I wouldn't. To be honest, he's good. Like I wouldn't mind him, but the problem is that I don't see how can we spend that much money on him. So I think it's not realistic. I think it's just a rumor, nothing more. But we're gonna sell Fagioli for whatever money, 25 or I don't think 30. 30 is way too much for Fagioli, so it's not realistic. I would like him at the club, but no, not happen.
For people saying that he's a Milan fan, I know that everybody knows that, but like Di
Di
Gregorio,
Gregorio, Inter, yeah.
Maldini was a big Juve fan.
Correct.
Like, I mean, Chiellini was a Milan fan. He's the biggest Juve fan out there right now. It changes. I know it's a different, you know, era with social media and so on, but he's not playing at Newcastle, and I'm sorry, he's not happy at Newcastle. Like,
Yeah.
if he has an option to go back to Italy and it's the only option, I think he will take it. Now, if he has other options abroad, he will think about that as well, and that makes total sense.
Yeah.
But if Newcastle this is it, you're not going to play, and Juve is the only way out. Yeah, like he supports Milan, but at the end of the day, he's a professional. Like, he's not going to throw his career. Like, it's just, we're fans, and he's a fan as well, but it's different. You're in a position where I'm a professional footballer. This is my career. Like, it goes out of the window. Like, Di Gregorio did not say, "Nah, screw you. I support Inter and I'm staying at Monza. I'm playing Serie B football potentially next season." He's not gonna do that. Like, it's just not gonna happen. It is what it is. Chiellini said it openly as well. Like, yeah, I supported Milan, but I'm a Juve fan now. Like, you play for the club, you start loving the club, you start, battling for the club, and that's it. Like at the end of the day, they're professionals. There are people out there here and there where they're like, no, and fair, I guess. Like that's your opinion, but I agree. Like it's not especially enough for January. In the summer, I don't know what's gonna happen in the summer. Like nobody knows who's gonna leave.
Depends on many things. It's way too
Yeah,
unpredictable. Yeah.
it's too unpredictable. But like the news was like Giuntoli likes him and Motta likes him. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's not really like that's like putting out there Juve like
Not
Vinicius
hard.
Junior. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
who doesn't? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, basically. So, weird news. Basically, the Fagioli one is not weird. I think, well, like yesterday was literally like if you look up garbage time minutes, that's the
Yeah.
definition. Yesterday's game, that's the definition, and he
Yeah.
still didn't get garbage time minutes. I mean, it couldn't be more obvious that he's probably gone in January, which sparks the discussion of are we going to bring in a new midfielder because you're letting someone go right now. So that's I think where the January thing, with surrounding Tonali kind of or it's kind of sparked, that type of discussion, but it's not going to happen. Fagioli probably is going to be leaving, but the team's interested in him. Like you said, we're not going to get 30 plus. It's impossible.
Yeah.
If it's Marseille and Crystal Palace and I don't know which team, it's not going to happen. So let's see with Fagioli.
I think we have enough midfielders, even if he goes. Like we have like what 6 players who can play there. So
If
and
they
it's a
can stay
big
fit.
pivot. So it's only two players. So
Yeah, if
you're
we
right.
play like that, yeah. With Fagioli, we will talk about that when things become more concrete. Basically, I like Fagioli. I've said it many times. I've never went overboard with the hype because it wasn't warranted. Like I'm sorry, like it wasn't warranted. Like if it's gonna end this way, it's sad. Like I'm not gonna not say it's not sad, but I've always said that if you have a coach, even if you don't like a coach, you're gonna need to back him if you want to if you want to make it work. Otherwise, it's just complete waste of fun. If you're gonna go against your coach, if he's like I don't need Fagioli, he's like Giuntoli's like you're gonna keep Fagioli and you're gonna use him. I'm not gonna buy you someone else. Fagioli's not gonna. Well, it's not gonna like it. It's not gonna play it much. Other players gonna play much. The team is not gonna improve because you're telling the coach to do something he doesn't want.
Yeah.
Nobody's winning. Like absolutely nobody's winning. If it's a mistake, we will only know down the line. Basically, it depends on how you're gonna cope.
There's
with
no
it.
mistake. There's no mistake. We need a defender, and that money will sponsor our defender. And I'm sorry, Fagioli showed already. He had the chance. Like we had injuries, he had the chance to show it, and he didn't. And I'm sorry, Miretti is
Oh,
Miretti's ceiling is a lot higher than Fagioli's. I know you think the same way, and if he needs to go, he needs to go. Like this is how it is.
potential wise, I will stick with that.
Yeah.
That I do
Yeah.
believe Miretti is more talented, but it needs to come out of it. And
Yeah.
that's not the case so far. But with Fagioli, for me, is a very inconsistent player. I've said it many
Yeah.
times. It's way too inconsistent. He's 24, is he? Is he
Yeah,
24?
I think
He's
so,
not old, by the way, but some act like he's 18. He's not 18 anymore. Like he's 24 already. Like not old, not that's not old, but the way people act or like it's like he's not a kid. He's not Yildiz in his first full season. That's also not the case. And he missed a full year of season because of his own doing as well. That didn't help as well. Last part, and then we will wrap it up because it's getting very late. Hanko, it's kind of picking up steam right now. If you need to believe Dutch sources, it's kind of agreed. It's just up to the two clubs basically, unofficially right now. I don't know if you watch a lot of him. Excuse me. I've watched quite a lot. I think he's good on the ball. Defensively, he's not a player that I'm crazy about. But what I'm gonna say is that the player you bring in right now, if you play money, it's not just a lone stopgap. You're paying money, not for now until the summer. You're paying that for now until 29, basically. Because Danilo is gone. Gati's probably gonna renew. You're gonna keep Kalulu. You don't know when and how Bremer is coming back as well. So whatever you do right now is an investment for the future. That's the thing right now in January. If you're not loaning a stopgap like a Skriniar, whatever you bring in right now, that investment is for now until 29 or 20 or 30, whatever. So it needs to be a smart move. But what do you think? Is he a profile?
So as we could see, we need a ball playing central back, and all the stats shows that he is really good at that. Defensively, as you said, he's not the best, but it's okay. He's 27. He's experienced. He plays in Europe as well. I would rather get him right now than the dude from Benfica, Silva. But why not both? Let's get both and let's be happy. But yeah, I'm fine with him. I think he can do a job.
Giuntoli hinted towards at both. He said maybe let's start
Yeah,
with one, but I think we're bringing in two. Even if it's one on loan, I think we're bringing in two.
and
That's my feeling.
and yeah, and because they both want to come, and they both, and I think we can make a good deal both in both cases. So yeah,
Fener won 35 million.
that's crazy. That will not happen, but I think we can do a deal like 5 mil now and whatever 20 later, or maybe qualifying to Champions League. Obviously, that has to be one of the points because we can't pay if we don't qualify. And I prefer Hanchko. I think that's how you say it. He's Slovakian.
Hanchko,
Yeah, I prefer him other than like Kivior. I don't like Kivior. I mean, I like Kivior in a way, but I think Hanchko is better for what we need a defender for.
I like Kiwior in a way, but Hanchko is better.
Yeah, yeah,
He played more, like he's more experienced, than Kiwior.
yeah,
Because ever since he left Serie A, he's not really playing Kiwior. So
yeah.
improvement have not just been there. And Silva, I've not seen enough of Silva, to be honest. But if I need to believe Benfica fans, high potential, but right now not really.
And he's not even playing, right?
Yeah, not that guy ready, and we kind of need somebody to be quote unquote ready. That's what we also are looking for, So let's see. But that's kind of the news really quickly wrapped up. I made a video that will be out tomorrow where I talked about it a little bit more. So that's why I'm gonna keep it short for this one today. We're gonna wrap it up, people. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll be back live. Tomorrow's Thursday, so I hope Friday. If not, I'm gonna do a late live show on Saturday for the Monza preview, and then back live on Monday evening, right, for the post game, and then build up to Fiorentina, the last game of 24. And then it's kind of a rest period. Yes, we have the Supercoppa, but whatever, whatever, I guess. But yeah, and then it's busy. Serie A kicks off again, but especially transfers. We need to do something, and Giuntoli, well, he said we're gonna do something more than one thing, I think. So let's see how that will go. Norbert, thanks for joining, as always, and I'll speak to you Monday, hopefully. Another positive show. Another positive show, hopefully. Yeah, people, that's it. Enjoy your day / evening, and I'll speak to you guys Saturday. Ciao.